Hey, welcome back. We are in Chapter 3, Week 7 of GR 270, and we're working in our textbook, Adobe Photoshop Creative Cloud Revealed. And in this chapter, we're going to be working with layers. I will do a couple of demos to get you started, and then we will, then I'll just leave it to you to request additional demos. And again, as soon as I sit down and start doing these demos, my dogs get just horribly thirsty and go in and start gulping water. So I want you to know that's probably what you hear in the background. Sorry about that. Okay, so by now we have Photoshop. We're going to open 3-1 and we're going to save it as Up in the Air. I'll underscore your name. And then we're going to go to View on the menu bar, click Rulers if your rulers are not visible, and you'll see that my rulers are visible. I'm going to set the 0 point here at the very upper left-hand corner of my document. And in case you missed that, I went right up here to the little gray square that's between the two rulers, between the horizontal and vertical ruler, and I clicked and drug those crosshairs down, and that then sets the point of origin as 0 for your measurements. Now, if you're unsure of the measurements unit of measure here that's being used, you can right-click if you are on a Windows, or you can control-click if you're on a Mac, and that will bring up the drop-down menu that will tell you what's currently the measurement unit. And we want pixels if you don't already have pixels, and I didn't. I had inches, so click on pixels, and you'll see that that then changes to pixels as the unit of measure. Now in the workplace switcher, and I'm going to bring this over here so we can see a little bit more of that. Mine is set as Essentials, and in Chapter 1, which I did not do, so you're not seeing it here, we were supposed to establish a legacy workspace. I did not do that, so I'm just going to keep mine in Essentials, and I'm going to reset Essentials to make sure that it gets my layers and layout for the document workspace like we need to have it. Alright, we are going to click the background layer and then click the Delete Layer button. Scoot this over so we can see it. I'm going to scroll down here. You want to make sure that your layers are clicked on the background layer. And then there's a couple of ways that you can do that. They just have you click the Delete Layer button at the bottom of the Layers panel, which is right here. You can also click and drag and drop it there, but I'll just click on this. It's going to say, do you want to delete the background layer? And you're going to say yes. And now it's gone. We're going to verify that the sky layer in the layers panel is active, which it is. You can see that because it's highlighted. And then we are going to go to, let's see if I can scoot this over, menu bar, point to new, and then background from layer. So again, we're going to go to menu, we're going to go to layer, and we are going to look for new background from layer. So that's going to create sky as the new background layer, and you'll see that in just a moment. Background layer then becomes locked because it's normally not editable, and it's identified as the background layer now. You want to do a Command or Control S to save our work. I'm going to save this in to our 270. Here we go. We're going to save this as not a web page. What? All right, I'm going to back out of here because I accidentally hit some kind of a button that I did not want to hit. So we're going to do a file and save. I must have been on the textbook layer rather than, or textbook tab rather than on my Photoshop tab when I went to save that. But now my work is saved. All right, so we're going to click over here and see what else we can work on. I'll be back in just a moment. All right, guys, I'm back. We are going to modify a workspace now. We are going to drag the history panel so it displays above the layers panel. See, here's the layers panel. And we want the history panel up, so we're going to go to Window, and if you haven't done this yet, bring up your history panel, and then we're going to click, drag, and drop it so that it's above the layers panel. We're going to go to Window on the menu bar. We're going to go to Workspace and do New Workspace. We're going to type Legacy and click Save. And then we're going to add a layer using the layer menu. So we're going to click the lighthouse balloon layer on the layers panel. We're going to go to layer on the menu bar, point to new, and we want, what do we want here? Okay, so we want to layer, new layer, and then that's going to open up the new layer dialog box. And a new layer will be added above this lighthouse balloon, which was that the one that we were supposed to have active? I think it was. We can change the name of the layer dialog box before it appears on the layers panel. And I'm just going to call it Nancy's new layer. And you'll see there it is above the lighthouse balloon. You'll also see in the history state that we've added a new layer as the last step in the history. Now we're going to insert a or delete a layer. We're going to position the layer selection pointer over layer 1 on the layers panel, which is the one that I just named. And then we're going to drag layer 1 to the delete layer button on the layers panel. So all you have to do is click, drag, and drop it to this little trash can, and that layer is deleted. You can also delete the layer by dragging the new layer state button on the history panel to the delete. So we could have done that on the history panel as well. Now we're going to add a layer using the layers panel. We're going to click the lighthouse balloon layer. It was already selected. We're going to click the new layer button on the layers panel. You look down at the very bottom of your layers panel and you'll see all of these little icons reflect something. This is your new layers button. Compare your layers panel and history panel. So here's our layers panel, which is a layer 1 right above the lighthouse balloon. And here's the history panel, which is the as a new layer right under that delete layer step. Alrighty. All right, the next thing that we're going to do is make a color range selection. We're going to make a selection and then add it to another document or show you how to do that. So first we're going to go back into Photoshop and we're going to open 3-2. So we want to go to File, Open. You're going to navigate to where your Chapter 3 files are. And and open 3-2. And you'll see that you have two tabs at the top of your, right underneath your control bar at the top of your document window. Up in the air, which is the one that we had opened, the home file, I guess you might call it, and then 3-2. We're going to save it as yellow stripe balloon. So we are going to do a file, save as. Underscore your name. And then we're going to drag the window to an empty area of the workspace so we can see both images. With my narrow workspace, that's going to be kind of hard to do, but I will just bring this out here a little bit so you can see what it should look like. All right, you'll see these two tabs, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to click drag, and I'm going to drop this window out so that it's by itself over here. And then I'm going to make this a little bit narrower, so again we can go back to the go back to the textbook as well. All right, when more than one file is open, each has its own set of rulers, and you can see the rulers here on the yellow striped as well as on the up in the air. And with the yellow striped balloon image selected, so you just want to click on that one and make sure that that's the active one, we're going to go to Select on the menu bar, and then we're going to click on Color Range. If the background is a solid color when you select it and select the Invert checkbox only, the foreground color will be selected. So we're going to click the Image option button below the image preview. Honestly, I think this is a little bit more of a complicated way to do it than what we need to, but we'll work through it here. If the background color is a solid color, I would normally just use the magic wand and select it just with the magic wand. But again, we'll do what the textbook tells us to do here. So with a click the image option button below, then the image preview, then we're going to type 100 in the fuzziness text box. Hit tab. We're going to position the pointer in the blue background of the image, and then we're going to click the background. Select the Invert checkbox. And then you want to compare your settings to either mine on the screen or to figure 12 in your textbook. Click OK. And then you want to compare your yellow stripe balloon PSD image to figure 13 or mine on the screen. And you can see that little marquee selection around that. Now we're going to move that selection to another image. We're going to get this, still having this active, we're going to get the Move tool, which remember looks like the selection tool that we use in Illustrator. And we're going to move the pointer anywhere over the selection in the yellow striped balloon, and then we're going to drag it to the up in the air image. So we're going to click here and drag, and we're going to drop it in this image, we hope, and there it is. The yellow striped balloon image moves to the up in the air image appearing on layer 1, which it did. And you'll see that if you check your layers panel. And we want to use the Move tool to drag the yellow striped balloon to the approximate location shown in figure 14. All right, so here's figure 14. I'm going to, still got the Move tool, and this layer is still highlighted, so I'm just going to click and drag this. so that it's just about in that same position. When you drag an object, a box displays showing how many horizontal and vertical pixels the object is moving. We're going to click the menu arrow, yeah, in the document window status and verify that the document size is selected. Which it is. And now we're going to defringe that selection. So with layer 1 still selected, we're going to click Layer on the menu bar. And we're going to point to matting. And then we're going to point to defringe. Defringing a selection gets rid of the halo effect that sometimes occurs when objects are dragged from one image to another. I don't see it so much here, but I'm not zoomed in very closely either. So we're going to type 2 in the with text box, and we're going to click OK. And then we're going to click the Darth Vader layer. And we're going to defringe it again using a width of 2. I'm going to zoom in a little bit more closely, so hopefully we can see some kind of an impact on it. All right, so there's the Darth Vader image. We have that highlighted. We're going to go down to layer, or up to layer on the menu item. We're going to point to matting again, and we're going to defringe. And I'm going to move that over. Type in 2 pixels, and then we're going to click OK, and hopefully we'll be able to see an impact. Which you can. You saw that area eliminated. I'm going to do a Command or Control S to save our work. And we're going to close a yellow striped balloon, which mine is, wait a minute, clear back here someplace. And then compare the up in the air image to figure 15 or mine on the screen. And I think that'll do it for this demo, and we will see you later.